Hello, and welcome to Step Up, Stand Out, and Succeed with Motivational Maps. Thank you for being here today. I'm Akila Davis, President of Courageous Business Culture and trainer for the Motivational Map certification. I'd like to take you through an introduction to motivational maps and how it would best benefit coaches, advisors, and consultants. Okay. If you have any questions, please keep them. We will have a Q&A at the end, or you can contact me at any of the numbers that are in the contact list at the very end as well. Whether we call ourselves coach, advisor, therapist, consultant, or counselors, it doesn't really matter, nor does it matter what our specialty is. We all share a very similar vision, is to help our clients or those who rely on us to break free of the shackles which are holding them back from achieving something that they want. And to do that, we all go through a similar process. Once we feel the call to our profession, we set about learning what we need to know, acquiring the knowledge to help our clients, the experience, the skills, the ability, the training, and all of that. And one of the other things that we share is because we know we can help our clients, and because we know that there's so many people out there who could use our skills, we expect that once we've hung out our shingle and we are able to speak to our clients, and you've got your web page there, you've got your social media going, you're doing workshops, all of those things to let people know that you're there, that your practice will be full. For most of us, we think probably within 2 years, we should be earning the income that we deserve. Unfortunately, that's not always true. The reality is that you can go out there, you do all of those things, and yet your waiting room remains empty. We spend a lot of time waiting for the future to download. And during that time, we're very, very busy. We say we're doing all the things we're supposed to do. I've known people who within 2 to 3 years are so overwhelmed. They know they are doing so much, and yet they're not getting the results that they want. As a matter of fact, with all the networking and making up the forms and learning, that's one thing. It's always after the next program that is going to bring clients immediately into our office. But it doesn't happen. So the time and money continues, and sometimes that 2 years goes into 3 years, into 5 years, and still it's not happening. I don't know if you realize it, but ZipRecruiter says 63% of life coaches make between $11,000 and $40,000 per year. Now, when we start talking averages, that goes up dramatically, and that's because there is the top 2 or 3% who are making hundreds of thousands, but the majority are not. So what is causing that? Well, there are many causes, but I have narrowed it down to what I believe are the 3 most important. So let's start with number 3. It's niche clarity. When it comes to niche clarity, one of the things that I think it's difficult for us to understand is if you choose a niche, it does not mean you're locked into that niche. Think of niche clarity as sort of a restaurant. And a restaurant that is known for its burgers, they make the best burgers. So if somebody wants a good burger, they will go there. That's that restaurant's niche. It doesn't mean that they don't serve other things. I can go in and for the burger and then decide maybe I don't need burger. What I want is a soup instead. and they have it. So your niche needs to be the niche that you can serve best and a niche who you can get known for serving the best. And that is the one that you're going to advertise and get known for that will bring clients into the door. Of course, when we start talking about niche and all of these, there's a lot more to it. But I just want to go a little bit into it because if you don't know your niche, how are you going to speak to the people that are going to be your best clients or your ideal clients? The second cause of not being able to earn monies, and that is messaging. Once we know our niche, then you can speak to them. But when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one because there's nobody can say, oh, you're talking to me. It is so vague. It is so general. So there's this formula that goes around that is a very good formula. And as you know, it goes, I help or I support or I serve. And then you have what it is, what are the symptoms that they suffer, who you serve, and the results. And that is really, really great for saying what you do. Except we now have a little problem. There are many coaches in your space. And I would say the majority, if they're not vague, they're using the same formula. So if you think about it, if you're a career coach or a life coach, how many different words can you use for what it is that you do that would help you to stand out? The whole idea here is to do something that would make a potential client step up and say, hey, I like that. I want to work with you, or I'd like to find out more about you. The number one cause, I believe, why we're not getting the clients we deserve is that we do not differentiate ourselves. If you're with 5 or 10 other coaches or consultants in a room, and there are a number of potential clients, what do you say to those clients about what you do differently, what you offer differently, how you can make their results better? Because if you can't do that, then they will just pick the one maybe they like the best or somebody they know. So you have to have a reason. Some people differentiate themselves on price. Some people differentiate themselves on various things. A true differentiation that will make people say to you, that sounds like you will be able to give me the results that I need. What we do when we're dealing with people, a lot of it happens in the subconscious that we need to know and they need to know to help themselves. When you look at the brain, it has 3 domains. The cognitive informs on our intelligence, our ability to reason, our personality, and there's a whole slew of things out there. And there's 98% of the assessments that are out there are based on the cognitive. Motivational Maps came out 12 years ago. I brought it to North America on an exclusive deal 5 years ago. And in that time, I have certified over 20 practitioners. But think about that, North America. Think about the number of people in the workforce or the number of people who need help. 20 practitioners? And no 2 of my practitioners are in the same space. I have wellness practitioners, HR practitioners, financial practitioner, networking practitioner, energy coach practitioner, relationship therapist practitioner. That gives you an idea of how flexible this tool is. It informs on the affective part of the brain, which is our feelings part. And as I said, what our clients are usually about is how they feel about what they're doing. And that's what Motivational Map is all about. In a nutshell, what the motivational map does is it, and I'm sorry, I love the superhero theme. Motivational map allows you, or the certification allows you to magnify your powers in whatever field you're in. It helps you to attract new clientele. It can help you accelerate your income because now you have a reason for bringing in new potential clients. And it also helps you to generate referrals because it provides an x-ray vision into your client's success triggers. What motivates people and what demotivates them are crucial to helping them reach their goals. It's crucial to helping them break their bonds. It's crucial to helping them understand what is holding them back. I'd like you to listen to one of my practitioners.
I have used motivational maps 4 years now. It's October 2019. And certainly there's the benefit of seeing the motivational levels of each of the people that you do the map for. So I use it both for helping my clients with personal and professional goals. So when they're struggling with motivation, I also use it to help them with not career discovery, but in terms of, I use it as one of the elements for career discovery, not the only element. And I also actually use it for weight loss clients as well, so we check their motivation. So it's an incredibly useful tool. I've done hundreds of maps. One of the coolest things about the tool itself is that I've actually used it as a lead generator. So when I started my business, you do a whole bunch of things to build your business, and actually motivational maps was one of the things that brought people in the door because people want to know what their motivation is. So I would just put something out there that says, discover your top 3 motivators today. Struggling with motivation, discover your top 3 motivators today. And that got a lot of attention. So it really helped me build a healthy coaching practice. My business partner also uses them for business. We do team motivational mapping as well. So we help teams discover how they're motivated and how satisfied those motivators are. It's a very intuitive tool, and you'll find that when you use it, you'll start to see patterns. So you'll be able to start to look at maps. So when you've done as many maps as I have, you'll be able to look at some of the maps and you start making assumptions. So people start to think that you're psychic because you're like, well, when I see a map like this, usually somebody's going through this, and you're like, how did you know? So it's a really powerful tool. I think you'll really like it. I also really like it because it's flexible, so it doesn't put people in a box. You can check it every 6 months to 2 years to see where somebody's at. I also like to use it as a baseline for clients, so we can check their motivation when they start, as well as partway through or at the end of their coaching program to see where things are at, see how things have shifted, make interpretations, and develop strategies for them to work on. So good luck with your motivational map training. I know that you're absolutely going to love it. There's lots to learn, and Aquila is an incredible support.
So, what is motivational maps? Well, it is a system that is based on what we call the 9 motivational dimensions, and they are broken down into clusters. Now, here's a few important facts. The 9 motivational dimensions, there's no good or there's no bad. They just are. They're situational. Another thing is we all have them. It's just within each of us, it's in different intensities, and they're being met at different levels. And with those 2 factors combined with the 9, what actually happens is it can generate over 1 million separate individual profiles. I've been doing this for over 5 years now, and I have never ever seen 2 that are identical. It's one of the reasons, and I'll explain this a little bit later, why motivation map is not, you can't compare person A to person B, because it's based on who we are, our experiences, and everything that's gone on in our lives. So it's really is not about comparison, it's about you, the individual. Your motivation level is based on the spectrum of 0 to 100 and where you are right now because of what's going on in your life. So that's another thing. Unlike a psychometric test that is, it's mostly stable, it may change very little over the years, motivation maps can, or motivations can and do change. So one of the things here is that for us to understand is that your top 3 motivators are responsible for 60 to 70% of your unconscious decisions and behaviors. So for me, that means that it's important that I know what they are. The first time I did this, I was blown away. It was like, oh my God. So that's why I'm feeling the way I am right now. I looked at it and I thought, no, I have to go after what I'm really passionate about. And it put me full time into my coaching. I got my certification in motivational maps and working with executives and business owners. And their response blew me away because it was like, oh my God, it is so amazing that it's pegged me, but I sort of knew it was true, but now it's so great to have the language, I guess, to describe what I'm feeling, not just to myself, but to others. And what that did, they would say to me, well, do you think my wife can do this? Or, you know what, my team, this would be great. And then they loved the results they were getting from that. And my little antenna went up and I go, this is very needed based on my personal feelings and what I'm getting back. So I got in touch with and negotiated the owner of the tool, James Sale, creator of the tool, and brought it to North America on an exclusive basis so that I would have the time to develop what it was and get it known. And believe me, the first 3 years was like swimming. I felt like a salmon swimming upstream. It's been wonderful that it is now starting to build a buzz of its own. And this is the first time I'm actually doing a real outreach for practitioners. The 20 or so practitioners I have in North America have all come through word of mouth or having done the maps themselves. And why I think this is an opportunity and a differentiator is that over the 12 years that maps have been around, there's about 400 practitioners worldwide. So people who are doing it now or are becoming practitioners now, it gives you an opportunity to be a pioneer in something that will not only help your clients, but will also help you build your business. So where did the maps come from? Well, it's a combination of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Edgar Schein's career anchor, and the Enneagrams, which is one of the oldest personality profiling tool. It includes other research as well, like Hertzberg, 2 motivation theory, and things like that. But this is the key. And then that's all wrapped in a proprietary algorithm, which is what makes the difference. This is what quantifies how we're feeling and what we're feeling and how we're feeling about what we're doing. So the motivational map, the results we get, helps us to understand motivational impact on our external world. What's our cultural compatibility? What kind of culture do we have within us, and how does that match a group or a company? It helps you to understand your risk tolerance. And I think this is, well, I shouldn't use the word hilarious, but it is. I had been married 34 years before I finally understood my husband's risk tolerance and mine were at the opposite end of the scale. But what it did was it helped me to communicate with him better. And now we're happier than we've been because we understand the other one's needs. And because he's low risk and this troubles him, we've agreed as to how we're going to talk about what's going on and what I need from him, what he needs from me. And it works. It talks about how your ability to change is impacting your work and your personal life. What's your natural communication style? What's your preferred learning style? Where and how tensions with others could originate. It also helps you to understand how it impacts your internal world. One of the things is that motivational dimensions, the sequence, makes a difference. As I said, your top 3 is very, very important. And not just the sequence, but the intensity. If you have a very high intensity, something is not just, it can be not just a motivator, but a need. If you have a very low intensity, it can change your worldview. Because we're complex human beings, it can show you how dimensional conflicts internally, which you don't even know about, can be showing up in your life through confusion, lack of clarity, feeling stuck, indecisiveness. And it can show you how the intensity of the dimensions can affect your income and your relationships. One example of the relationships is that I had one couple who he needed freedom and she needed to be closer. She needed to belong or feel like she belonged. Those can cause tension in a relationship. And this was a relatively new marriage, so it was causing tension. Once we sat down and showed them what one needs and what the other one needs, they were able to decide how they were going to spend time. And when he needed his individual time, what that was going to look like, and when she needed together time, what that was going to look like. I had another couple who they were both ferociously independent people. One of the things that was important to them, we talked about, is they need to spend more time together. They needed to definitely have date nights. They needed at the end of the day to sit down and have, even if it's a 15-minute chat about what's going on in their lives to each other. Because if they don't, because they're so ferociously independent, they don't even notice when they start to drift apart. So it's really interesting how it can come into play. It identifies the upside and the downside potentials within the dimensions. As I said, there's no right or wrong. It is, but depending on the situation, it can be an advantage or a disadvantage. For example, if you are a pilot, one of the advantageous top 3 motivators might be you're driven by lack of change. You're driven by routine. You're driven by doing the same thing day after day after day. Because you have to do your checks, you have to do a whole bunch of stuff, and that makes sense. On the other hand, if you were very creative and you got bored and you need variety, how happy do you think you would be at a job that's very routine, that doesn't allow for a lot of creativity? So there is that. I mentioned before that this is about you and nobody else. So there's 4 quadrants of engagement. Each of them have a certain type of behavior. And when you know what quadrant you're in, you then become aware of what it is you need to do. If you're in a quadrant lower than the one you want, what do you have to do in order to be more motivated? If you're already highly motivated, then we look at what is it that you need to have and do to continue to be highly motivated. Part of the things we teach is how do you help somebody to understand their motivations and how they can, what it is that they need and how they can make changes or maintain it. It helps you to identify if your role motivations are compatible with your personal motivations. Because again, if you're somebody who is highly creative and you get all the training and the education to do something that is routine, chances are you're not going to be happy in that. It's probably one of the reasons that we have such a high disengagement rate in the workforce, because people don't know what motivates them before they get their education. And then when they go into the workforce, they find that they're unhappy with their choices. You know? And the number of people who are unhappy with their choices is huge. So what do clients have to say?
We're proud to share our most recent 5-star review. Our company's staff works hard to go the extra mile, so these positive reviews are very motivating.
I was amazed at the insight and the depth of motivational maps. It's an impressive tool. Being able to measure and affirm what really drives me and identify potential challenges in my work and my relationships with others is gold. Thanks, Akila.
We love our
Now, that is not just one client. Over 35,000 people, and I believe that figure is higher now, who report on their experience with motivational maps have said, on average, they have 92% of them have found it easy to use. 95% of them have found that it was accurate. It really does resonate and describe who they know they are. And 97% have found it useful. Just a few days ago, I was speaking to a young lady, and she said to me, she said, you know, I look at how I work differently. I look at how I do things. I didn't even have to think about it, but once I knew what my motivators were, I now look at the things around me differently. The other thing I think it's important for potential practitioners to know is that we are certified by ISO. And for those of you who aren't aware of what ISO is, it is the International Standards Council. And it's not enough to get certified. Every 3 years, that certification has to be renewed, where somebody comes in and audits what you're doing and then allows you to be recertified. Again, here's some other testimonials. It gives you a sense of how diverse your clientele can be and still be satisfied. For you as a practitioner, what does it do for you? Well, as you're taking them through the motivational awareness, one of the biggest things it does is it helps to build trust, because it is allowing you to know them. And they know that you know them because you're telling them things that they know are true. And you're helping them to face how you're showing up at this moment in time. Okay? And it allows you to differentiate yourself. As Christopher said, what motivates you? People are interested in finding out. Some people will say, you know what? I know what motivates me. And it's interesting, for the past 5 years, I've been doing a study on that, where one of the things I do is I ask people before I do their debrief is show them the 9 motivators with the descriptions that you saw and say, can you pick what you consider your number 1, number 2, number 3, and your last motivator? Interestingly enough, out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of MAP I've done in the last 5 years, 3 people were able to identify their top 3 and their last. The majority I'd say about 51% gets about 2 out of 4. As a matter of fact, most people don't even know they have more than one motivator. But when you think about it, we're not one-dimensional human beings, so why would we only have one motivator? And it's all 9 working in tandem, but with the top 3 being most important, that helps us to show up as who we are. The maps itself can be used on 3 different levels. There is the individual level and at the team level, and then it could be taken to the corporate level. What is the MAP certification? Well, first of all, we do the theory. You have 5 weeks, live 90-minute sessions led by me, and they are recorded and available to you 24/7. And then we have the practical. I do not believe that this is something that you can just learn in a day and go out and do. So I developed this supervised practicum as part of my North American practice. You have 10 maps that you must complete before you actually get your certification. It's about you doing the analysis and the debrief delivery. You do it to me first. I can listen to you at an actual call. I'm very flexible about how it's done. It's how you want it done that matters. But you get 10 hours minimum of my time to listen and to give you feedback on your analysis and your delivery. So by the time you've finished your 10, you are confident that you can do this, and you step out there with that confidence. And even that first 10, when you're delivering it to somebody, you have the confidence that you're not missing something important because we've gone through it together. And then there's the MAP certification support, the ongoing. James Sale he's contracted to write 6 books. 4 of them are now out. The mapping motivation for coaching, I have the Kindle version is part of the course. It's a $77 value, and I give that to you. So you can learn over and above the basics as to how you could use it in your coaching. You also have the motivational handbook, which is about everything we've learned. You don't have to worry. You can just go check the handbook for where the information is. And we also have a cloud-based resource library that is full of information on practical aspects of the motivational maps. You've just heard Christopher say that he used it at the beginning to bring in business. Well, a few years ago, he did on our mappers call, he went through how he did that. We have that on record for other people to listen to. I have one practitioner who is a vice president of IT, and in this time since he graduated, he's been now with 3 different companies. He goes in, he builds their IT department, and it's how he uses the maps for recruiting and building what he considers the optimal team. There's also recordings from James Sales. There's recordings, there's a lot of stuff in there. It's how to use LinkedIn. I have a sales professional there talking about sales skills. So there's a lot there, and we will keep adding to it. And so that's there for you to use as well. The next certification starts on November 5th. The investment is $29.50. It's 8 hours of theory, 10 hours of practical coaching, 25 motivational maps are included in your certification. That's a retail value, if you were to just sell the maps, of $1,250. You've got your handbook, you've got your practitioner resource library, you have the bonus mapping for coaching book by James Sales, and there's something I didn't put on here, but which I consider very, very important. you have the option to repeat your courses at no additional tuition fees anytime you want. So I have, with the session that's coming up, I've just sent out a notice to everybody who have taken the courses. Say if you'd like to do a refresher, you know, feel free to join. And it's something I try to encourage every 2 years at least, because things change. And if you want to be kept up to date, then it's a good thing to do. And it can reignite something that you may have heard and forgotten about, but now based on your practice, it's, hey, I can use it here now. So there's all of that. Now, if you were to enroll before the deadline, I'm going to waive $450 enrollment fee, which is part of the price. And so you can get started today with a deposit of $500 and 6 additional payments of $380 plus tax. I hope you think it sounds good, but good is not good enough. We now have something that will blow you away. And this is what I call my super bonus. Yes, I know, I can't get away from the super theme. I love it. It's 3 months of business marketing coaching. By me, it's a combination of group and individual sessions. In that coaching, what I will be doing is going over your marketing plan, going over your message, discussing with you about your niche. Are you in the right place? And then how to use motivational maps to bring in new potential clients and getting 20 paid maps completed. Now, I personally charge $300 US for getting a map done. And I have practitioners who are charging $350. The price is really dependent on what your current rates are. But we really suggest that you don't do less than $150 because your time is worth something. The $50 is the cost of the assessment itself. And at the $150, when you're learning, $100 is for your time. Now, so getting 20 paid maps, the reasoning behind that, the reason for this bonus is that you can recoup your investment in your course before your payments end. Think about that. So your 25 maps, you get 25 map passwords with your certification tuition. If you were to be able to sell 20 maps at a minimum of $150 each, that's $3,000. As a matter of fact, if you were to do a single pay for this course, it would have been $2,500 because you get the $450 enrollment fee taken off. So if you were to be doing, if you sold 20 of those maps at $150 and you had a single pay, you're actually making $500 profit. This bonus value in itself is $1,497. People in this type of course for me, I do group coaching at $500 a month. Yeah. So this is there. Now, if for some reason you've done everything we've talked about and you haven't sold your 20 maps, and I can't think of a reason why that wouldn't happen, but let's say it does, then I will extend it to 6 months for you. That's my personal guarantee that you will actually have your maps sold within the 6 months. And I will work with you until it's done. So what does that do for you? As we go through the process, you are honing your marketing skills, looking at the market, what it is they need, how to do your messaging, how to do your wording, so that becomes sustainable in your business. So I hope you're as excited about that as I am. I'm really looking forward to working with you. And this offer is actually also open to people. This is the first time I'm offering this. So in fairness to my previous graduates, If anybody wants to join in, they are welcome to do so, to become part of this. Depending on how that works out, I don't know if I'll be offering it again, so there you have it. And now I'd like you to hear from one of my newest practitioners.
Myself on someone who knew something about myself, knew something about the team members that I worked with. And that was until I met Akila Davis. Akila introduced me to the motivational maps. And when I had my map done, as well as the team members, we were blown away at the level of insight that gave us into one another. What I found was really interesting is not only that our team dynamic communication improved, but our relationship with our clients began to improve. And what I thought was most impressive is that we were able to language more clearly and more concisely what we did to prospects who could make a choice to come in and work with us based on our own inherent motivators. I was so impressed by this that I decided to go through both the basic and advanced motivational map practitioner training with Akila. And this training is world class. Akila is responsive. She's fun to be around. She's an expert at what she does. I learned so much by working with her through her mentorship and through her coaching in this process. It has added so much to our business in and above what it was just to do the motivational maps for ourselves. Now, being a motivational map practitioner, this is an additional service that we offer our clients and customers. It allows us to get to know them more deeply and better and offer them greater levels of service, as well as them helping their organizations improve consistency, communication, and effective outcomes in terms of performance, and of course, motivation. If you're considering, doing the motivational map practitioner training, do it. Akila is, again, world class. She's responsive, and I felt 100% supported with her the entire time in helping us to grow our business and make a bigger impact in other people's lives.
Okay, so on graduation is what you will have is a tool that lets you stand out and attract customers. You will have a deeper understanding with your clients so that you're able to create a powerful bond with them, a bond that consists of knowledge and trust. And you know what they say, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. It allows you to give values to your clients quickly because through the self-awareness that you have provided for them through their own answers and your ability to key into their most important issues, you are both on the same page, which allows you to provide results faster. And you know why I don't know about you, but I know it's true of me, and I know it's true of many other people I know. I will pay more for faster results. And it opens up new opportunities. You will be amazed after you've taken it, how you can see how it's not only going to help your client, but how it could open up perhaps a new niche that you are more passionate about. It's more of a lucrative niche, or you bring it in as a secondary niche. Whatever it is, the opportunities will be amazing. And here's another one. It gives you a reason to stay in touch with former clients, because part of what you talk to them about is, okay, we're doing a 6-month coaching program or a 1-year coaching program, but I would highly recommend that when you have your results, in order to keep yourself at the place you want yourself to be, then perhaps we should do this checkup once a year, twice a year. Or if you are feeling confused or you're not sure what's happening, things have changed, but you can't put your finger on it, come on back. We'll do a map, and that will help you to gain some clarity. You've seen what it's done for you already. So those are 5 things that you will now have if you choose the Motivational Map Certification Program that you didn't have before. Again, I'm Akila Davis. The next step is to contact me. You can get your questions answered. You can actually book an appointment. And if you haven't done a map, then I would highly recommend that you get one done. Okay? Because you're on this call, I will be doing maps for anybody who want to for $150 if you mentioned that you heard that you were on this call or you have listened to the repeat for $150, which is 50% off. If you then decide to become part of the Motivational Map program, that will be deducted from your tuition, because to me it's very important that I know who you are and that I can help you in your mentoring and coaching to be successful based on your motivations. So thank you again for being with me, and I hope to hear from you very, very soon.